You've heard of actors going method for their roles, and while we often think of performers enduring emotional hardships, sometimes going method just means learning a musical instrument, or two, or more. That can't be so hard, right? Stick around to find out. Number 1. Not just Wednesday, but every day. That's how often you might guess that actor Jenna Ortega had to practice while preparing for her role in Wednesday. Although Jenna only had a few months between being cast in the role and shooting the show, she picked up the basics of cello enough to provide a visual image of cello being played for the role. Ortega said that her cello training began roughly 2 months before shooting for Wednesday started. Wednesday plays the cello a few times throughout the series. In the few months before filming, Ortega learned to play Bach's Cello Suite No. 1. And you might notice that this is what the action of her playing shows, even though a different song is playing on screen.
I don't really feel better.
Number 2. You might assume that the piano close-ups in La La Land are played by a jazz piano double, but actually, you're seeing Ryan Gosling playing that piano live. Any guesses which other actors learned to play the piano? We'll get to it soon. While the recording we hear features pianist Randy Kerber, Ryan actually learned to do all of that keyboard work for the role. He said, "I had to play City of Stars for 6 months, 4 hours every day." Ryan also added that he felt unsure of himself during the time, saying, "Every time I tried to have a conversation with someone during that rehearsal period, I felt like Bambi on ice."
It was really one of the most fulfilling, pre-production periods I've ever had.
Number 3. He might have already been a star, but you might say Bradley Cooper was a star reborn after this film. The actor prepared for his role with 6 months of intense guitar and piano lessons, as well as a 1.5 years of vocal training. All of this was to make sure he got singer Jackson Maine's voice just right. His co-star Lady Gaga was the one who convinced Bradley to sing live during filming, saying she couldn't stand watching movies where it's obvious an actor is lip-syncing. Bradley was thankful for her pushing him into the challenge, saying, "Because she's so confident and supportive, I felt pretty comfortable once I got there. It gave me the guts to go out." Number 4. No piano? No problem. Taron Egerton had never played piano before approaching his role for Rocket Man, where he took lessons from Michael L. Roberts to get into Elton John's playing style. According to Roberts, Taron did all the singing himself, and much of the playing, with only a few parts dubbed over later. Roberts said Taron was playing for real in the Crocodile Rock, Your Song, and Benny and the Jets scenes. Taron even became friends with Elton John during filming. Number 5. Imagine you were going to play a musical icon, but have no musical experience. Sounds daunting, right? This is how actor Rami Malek began his journey when he was asked to play the role of Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. The actor was determined not to fake his piano playing, so he started at the beginning and learned the intro to the verse of the song Bohemian Rhapsody. The actor said, "There were moments when I thought, this is not my bag. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this part of it." But the actor managed to pull through and even won an Oscar. Number 6. Benedict Cumberbatch took violin lessons to better portray his character. His teacher noted that Cumberbatch was a quick study and picked up her teachings faster than she had originally hoped. It was shared that Benedict stayed back to practice when everyone had gone home for the night. The story goes that a cleaner walked into the room with a bucket in her hand and instantly backed out, apologizing. Cumberbatch responded with an apology of his own for using the room longer than expected. Number 7. Christian Bale shared that he actually learned how to play the drums in just 2 weeks for his role in The Big Short. He explained, yes, it was a wonderful crash course in double kick drum. Bale shared that his character, Michael Burry, played drums to heavy metal music to unwind when not staring for hours at numbers on computer screens. Number 8. Walking the line is harder than you might think. This film's acting duo are rumored to have nearly quit over the difficulty of learning to sing and playing the guitar at the same time. But Joaquin and Reese were in good hands. Their teacher Kit Alderson taught them to play auto harp and guitar as they prepared for their roles, and their vocal coach Roger Love helped them pull through the big challenge. Number 9. Yodelai-hee-hoo. Did you know he's a trained yodeler? That's right, Tom Hiddleston learned to yodel for his role in I Saw the Light, Only Lovers Left Alive. Not to mention, Tom moved to Nashville and lived with singer-songwriter Rodney Crowell for 5 weeks so that he could practice Hank Williams' songs and learn to get the country singer's style just right. Tom learned to yodel and also learned to play, wait for it, piano, guitar, violin, and the lute. Number 10. Not his tempo. You know the line. While Whiplash actor Miles Teller might have already had some experience on the drums, he had to learn a new, much more intense style of jazz drumming for this film. It was no easy task. Miles took drum lessons for 4 hours a day, 3 times a week. He did so much training that he even developed blisters from the intense playing style. Number 11. 2 actor musicians, 1 movie? You bet. For their roles in The Talented Mr. Ripley, Matt Damon and Jude Law both took up lessons for their instruments. Matt learned to play the piano, and Jude learned to play saxophone. While Matt's piano training helped him to play all the proper fingering, the music we hear is actually played by the composers of the soundtrack for the film. Number 12. If you've ever heard of Charlie Chaplin, you might have heard that he always carried his violin around with him, and he was not afraid to play it. So it seems natural that when preparing for the role of Charlie Chaplin, actor Robert Downey Jr. did the same. But Robert didn't just carry the instrument around. He also took lessons on how to play it, and played it left-handed. This is very unusual, but it's how Charlie played his violin. Robert and his teacher were up to the challenge. Number 13. You have probably never heard of this band. Its members are Rachel Weisz and... actually, that's it. The actress's role in the film The Brothers Bloom called for her character to play not just the accordion, but the violin, guitar, and banjo for one scene. What's more, she had to do it all in the space of about 10 minutes. Rachel had lessons on all 4 instruments, but we don't know if the music you hear in the film is actually being played by the actress. You might say that the accuracy of her fingering on each instrument at least gives a good impression, though. Number 14. Have you ever found yourself singing a song out of your comfort zone? Keira Knightley has. The Begin Again actor undertook lessons in both singing and playing guitar for her role as the singer-songwriter Greta James. Even though Keira took guitar lessons from her husband, she still said that she felt out of her comfort zone and even ruled out a music career. It wasn't all bad though, as the film's song Lost Stars was nominated for an Oscar. Piano is about all he had left to do. You probably have seen Adrien Brody playing a piano virtuoso in Roman Polanski's film The Pianist. To prepare for the role, Roman had Adrien practice piano for a hefty 4 hours a day. While this might have been method acting enough for some, Brody decided to take it a few steps further, leaving his longtime girlfriend, giving up his apartment, selling his car, starving himself, and living in solitary confinement in a foreign country. But he was the youngest person at the time to win an Oscar as a result. Number 16. He was a busy guy. You might be intimidated by the idea of shooting a feature film while learning an instrument for another film, but not Samuel L. Jackson, who said he took 6 or 7 months to learn to play guitar for his role as the blues singer Lazarus in Black Snake Moan. And while he was learning the instrument, he was also shooting Snakes on a Plane. We can't believe the commitment these actors made to their roles, and the talent and skill they've displayed through their musical performances. What are some of your favorite on-screen musical moments? Let us know in the comments.